Hi, my name is Davis, but a good amount of people on the internet have come to know me by the name of Hitch. Now currently I produce and film content for an esports organization called OpTic, which just so happens to be my dream job. I've been holding off for a while, but I think today would be an appropriate time to share my story. It has its ups and its downs, but I think it's a story worth telling. Let's start in the pre-Hitch years. Once upon a time, two beautiful humans met and fell in love in Greenville, North Carolina, home of Bee's Barbecue and the East Carolina University Pirates. After both graduating from ECU, they moved down to Panama City, Florida to start off their careers. My dad worked as a recreational supervisor in a federal correctional institution, also known as a prison, and my mom started teaching. Best of both worlds kind of thing, I guess. A few years later, they wondered what they could possibly do to maximize the amount of happiness and joy in their lives. So they had me, and immediately they were like, yep, never doing this again. I don't remember much from Panama City because we only stayed there until I was 7. In 2000, my dad got a promotion to a different FCI in the small but amazing town of Jessup, Georgia, which is really where my first childhood memories come from. We did everything as a family and met lifelong friends through church and soccer while we were there. My favorite memory being a state championship win with the Jessup All-Star team. Oh, and my dad was coach. 3 years go by and my dad gets another promotion, this time back in the home state of North Carolina. It was a pretty simple routine in 5th grade and the entirety of middle school. Do a lot of school, do a lot of church, and do a lot of sports. High school was basically the same routine, but supercharged. I played on my high school and club soccer team, which is where I met two of my best friends. Somehow I learned how to play the guitar and started playing in the church band every Sunday. I also got super involved in my youth group at church, taking a leadership role in that for the entirety of my high school. And I also started dating and fell in little puppy innocent love. One day while I was doing homework on my mom's laptop, I discovered a game called Combat Arms. Now I had played video games a decent amount of my life, but nothing hooked me like this free-to-play, downloaded FPS. Eventually my buddy Blake informed me that Combat Arms was just a knockoff of Call of Duty for the Xbox 360. So I saved up, I bought a 360 off of Craigslist behind my parents' back, and proceeded to become addicted. Then to top it all off, I discovered YouTube videos surrounding this game. Now not only was I obsessed with playing, but with watching as well. Then I thought, why don't I try? So I bought a Dazzle, recorded some clips, and made my first ever montage. It was god-awful, but creating something felt amazing. I felt like a circus artist juggling soccer, school, church, music, a girlfriend, and this newfound love for Xbox and YouTube. It was a very busy lifestyle, but so fun. I don't know if everyone has a specific moment in their life that alters everything, can't be forgotten, and almost defines who you are as a person. But I do. After 3.5 years of this hectic routine I talked about earlier, everything changed. It was just a regular day. I rushed home from school to get a few hours of gaming in before soccer practice. My mom gets home and yells upstairs to me if my dad was home yet. I said no, and about an hour later I hear the door open again. I look over to see my pastor with tears in her eyes. She muttered, "Davis, your mom needs you right now." I bolted downstairs to my mom, immediately understanding the situation, and I was in like the deepest form of emptiness and agony that I have ever felt. It was then told to me that not only had my father passed away, but that he had committed suicide. My head, the room, the world started spinning. How? Why? It's questions that will forever remain. My father was the most caring, selfless, and real person that I had ever known. He was admired in the workplace, and I saw him be a mentor to 3 different pastors in my lifetime. January 12th, 2011. What a terrible day. The reasoning? It was all work-related. He was overworked, stressed beyond comprehension, and severely depressed, and he didn't let anybody know it. The next few months were a blur of anger and numbness. My relationship with my mom grew tighter even though we dealt with grief on our own terms. I think we'd both just hate seeing each other hurt. I tried counseling, but talking didn't help much, and group counseling at school was even worse. My situation was just so unique. I could even see the looks of pity on the counselors' faces when I told my story, which was incredibly uncomforting. The remainder of my senior year was bittersweet. I had to get adjusted to this new life, but also my friendships and relationships with my family grew to a new level. A few months before school ended, I had stopped playing music, took a break from soccer, stopped caring in school, and sold my Xbox. So that left one source of entertainment: YouTube. It's all I watched: battle rap, OpTic Predator montages, Midnight and D-Treat's commentaries, which eventually transitioned over to Nadeshot and Seth's content. Music videos, funny videos, literally everything I watched came from YouTube. I eventually moved on to college, UNC Greensboro, to study kinesiology. I'll let you guys Google that on your own. Admittedly, I chose the college in order to stay close to the girl that I was dating in high school. Then, we broke up 2 weeks into school. Freshman year was still awesome. I traveled, went to concerts, started rapping, went to class sometimes, ate whatever I wanted, didn't have to worry about soccer practice anymore, and just enjoyed freedom. Then I met a girl and super fell in love. I'm talking head over damn heels in love. She lived an hour away, so we would visit each other on weekends, and because I was staying in a lot more now that I wasn't single, I thought it would be a grand idea to buy back an Xbox. And the craziest thing is, she supported me. She bought me a PVR to start YouTube again, and a SCUF so I wouldn't completely suck. Blake and I had an idea to start a competitive Call of Duty community channel called EGB, and instead of being like, hey, you know, that's probably not the best idea, she told me to go for it. And boy, did I go for it. I posted every day and did everything in my power to promote it. I'll never forget when I hit 100 subscribers on EGB. It's funny thinking back now on how ecstatic I was. After a while, EGB started to really affect my schoolwork. And then to ensure irresponsibility and lack of effort in class, Treyarch decided to release Call of Duty Black Ops 2. COD esports exploded, which meant that damn near all of my attention was now focused on playing, watching, and uploading everything competitive COD. Now yes, subscribers were going up a tiny bit, but my grades, health, and relationships with other people around me started really getting rough. Brandon and I hardly ever spoke. My girlfriend and I started fighting as we were well past the honeymoon stage. I grew distant to almost any friend that I had made in UNCG, and my mom was just kind of like, what the hell are you doing? So I decided to transfer. I packed up everything at UNCG and moved into an apartment in Raleigh, North Carolina. I was now a part of the Wolfpack of North Carolina State University, and I was studying psychology. Closer to my mom, and only a mile and a half from my girlfriend. What could go wrong? It turns out psychology wasn't for me. I thought because of what I went through that I would have the experience and motivation to help those that were going through the same. It turns out talking and studying about psychological disorders only hit me harder and made me think more about my situation. I hated it. Now I hated everything about school. I hated going. I hated studying. I hated writing essays that nobody would read. I hated taking tests that would define my worth, all about a subject that made me feel like shit. It was terrible. So I just kind of stopped. It's like I gave up almost. I hardly went to class. I totally stopped caring about anything. There were times in the peak of this rut where it was so hard to get out of bed in the morning, and the feeling went on for months. The only distractions that helped me were being with my girlfriend and playing Call of Duty. I stopped uploading to EGB and creating content altogether. I felt like nothing I did had any real impact to anyone. I guess I kind of felt worthless. One day my girlfriend and I were running errands and ended up just talking in the car for a couple hours. We were in the Target parking lot. I don't know why that detail stood out to me, but it always has. I ended up just spilling everything. I just wasn't happy and she knew that. Depending on her and a video game as my only sources of happiness was extremely unhealthy. She asked me why I stopped doing YouTube. I told her it's because YouTube was the reason why my relationships with others got so rocky, and everyone around me just seemed to hate it. She said, well, hey, why don't you try to do YouTube while simultaneously not sucking as a friend, son, and a boyfriend? That wasn't YouTube's fault, it was yours. And uploading makes you happy, so even though I might think it's stupid and your mom might hate it, ultimately, we are always going to support you and want you to be happy. I guess all my mind needed was an approval from someone because I immediately started working again. Blake and I used EGB as a resume and sent it to different organizations to apply for a content position. We heard back from PGL, ESN, and Mainstage Games. Mainstage was the only one of these that basically just handed us their YouTube channel and said, go crazy. So we did. After working on content for months, we were told that Mainstage was going to make a bit of a change. That change was being that there was no more Mainstage and that it was now going to be called UMG Online. Okay, so for those that are watching this that don't know anything about nerdy things, this is a massive upgrade. I did everything in my power to be a part of this change. Eventually I got into a Skype call with Robert from UMG, who offered me the UMG content position. I knew UMG Philly was coming up, so I asked my mom for a train ticket and hotel room for Christmas, traveled up with Blake, and took my first ever videos with my girlfriend's camera. It was honestly the first time I had even held a DSLR. So then I made like a tiny event montage in iMovie, uploaded it to the UMG YouTube channel, and it seemed like everyone loved it. After that, things just kind of exploded. I started grinding content for UMG weeklies, top clips, player interviews. Then I met up with Kingdom Soldier and became a part of the Sticks podcast. I started up my own YouTube channel and put some content up there. Then I was flown to UMG Niagara to shoot an event where I ended up bunking with Golden Boy, which was crazy weird for me at the time. After that event, I uploaded a video called UMG Reads Mean Tweets, which exploded in the community and got a lot of feedback and support. And because of that, Gamma contacted me and offered me another media content position with them. It still wasn't a paid position, but it did mean that I would get to go to more events, including X Games, and I could not turn down a trip to X Games. Again, I tried to take advantage of this new opportunity as best as I could. Using my girlfriend's camera and an old MacBook, I was able to continue the Experience series, Mean Tweets, I did player interviews, and other series on the Gamma YouTube channel. I even worked with a pro Super Smash Bros. Player called Axe to create a combo video. On the personal side of things, I uploaded gameplay commentaries, rap videos, montages, funny videos, and so much more. Like, almost too much. After a while, views started to kind of plateau, which made it harder to upload. Taking so much time off of work to go to these events was really starting to hurt financially. There were even a few events where I started shooting pictures of smaller teams for a price just in order to have food money for the weekend. And nothing is as embarrassing as asking your mom for rent money after promising her you could survive on your own throughout all of this. At UMG Nashville, I finally sat down with Skylar from Gamma and told him about everything. He gave me some of the best advice I had received in the scene. His exact words were, "Perfect your craft." I was doing a little bit of a lot of things instead of putting my all into one. He told me that I was one of the best videographers in esports. But that doesn't mean much when the hired work from outside of esports is so much better. That sparked my motivation again, and that night I tweeted, "This time next year, I will refer to this tweet to see where my life has taken me. I have high hopes. Thank you so much for the support." Now, for the craziest year of my life. Hector decided to start an esports news organization called OpTic Intel, and he asked me to join. Seeing as how I had been watching OpTic videos since I was a sophomore in high school, it was a no-brainer. Now things really started to take off. Within a week, I was already seeing more views and support from the community than I ever had, which made me want to work harder. That threw me right into the head of OpTic Intel position, where I was basically responsible for everything OpTic Intel. Not that it was that big of a problem because we had the best team ever. The new level of success was super exciting for those 6 months, but again, it kind of plateaued because Call of Duty was becoming so stale for a lot of people that year. I tried to keep my work ethic up with Intel and my personal channel and Walgreens, but it was getting super stressful and tiresome. On top of it all, my girlfriend and I broke up. She was going to grad school and I was caught up in YouTube, and our lifestyles just weren't meshing anymore. Then I got an offer from an esports organization that would have let me quit Walgreens. It was one that I couldn't ignore. I called Hector on Skype to tell him about it, and he told me basically to take it because he saw it as a great opportunity. I was not about to leave OpTic though. I countered with my own idea. How about I record a documentary about the team and put it on the Nation channel because it wasn't being used that much at the time. And if it went well, then maybe I could do that every week at the new mansion that they were about to move into. It turns out he liked the idea. So that brings us here, to the OpTic Scuff House, a place I've been living for 7 months now, creating content, uploading daily videos, and waking up every single day knowing that that day I'm going to do what I love to do for a living. It's been the craziest journey, and as you guys can see, life can be a little weird sometimes, but moments like this, it makes it all worth it. Thank you guys so much for 100,000 subscribers. Absolutely insane. I can't wait to get my little plaque from YouTube. It was very nerve-wracking to make this video. I told a lot of stories in it that I haven't told a lot of people in my lifetime. So I went from telling hardly anyone to 100,000 of you guys. So, but but I know it's going to be worth it, and I'm glad I did it. So thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are awesome. My name is Hitch. Another day, another vlog. We'll see you next time.